Mabuhay, happy Thursday everyone. I want to start this video by answering a question that some of you guys left me in my DMs. And that's about the mental health after being detained by ICE. If you don't know me, my name is Piero and I'm currently living here in the Philippines after living in the US for 4 years. And I was detained in one of my immigration's appointment, and I tried to file my case. I stayed in detention for 3 months and I was sent back to Venezuela after 8 years. So, one of the things that I want to start mentioning is that in those detentions, you share the room and the bathrooms with a lot of people. The first detention that I was 100, the second it was 20, and the third one was 380. And everyone has different personalities, okay? The first night that I was there, I was punched by two guys that they were bullying me since I arrived because of my sexuality. That was one of the moments that my mental health was getting bad. And on top of that, when you are detained, you don't know how long you're gonna stay there. You don't know how things are gonna end, so the uncertainty of things also start affecting your mental health. And like I mentioned on my other videos, every detention has their own rules. Let me sit down for a second. And like I mentioned in my other videos, every detention has their own rules. Every detention has different hours, different rules of what you can do, what you cannot do. But overall, the days feel very monotonous. You breakfast the same hour, lunch the same hour, dinner the same hour, you woke up the same hour, you fall asleep the same hour. So everything feels controlled and repetitive. You can start feeling overwhelmed, you can start feeling tired, you can start feeling depressed. Also, the environment there with the people, it's very depressing because you start seeing how people cry because of the result of their cases. You start seeing losing their minds because everyone is getting crazy of waiting. And let me tell you something. In that situation, they play with your mind a lot, okay? When they transfer you, for example, from a different detention, the processing time takes a while and you ended up sleeping on the floor for 24 hours with only a sandwich in your stomach because that's what usually they give you for food. When they transfer you, it can drive you crazy easily. Something that you should know, and this is something that I was capable to understand because I know English, is that some of the workers there are very rude. They can call you names that for the people that doesn't speak English, they don't know. They calling you names and it's not very professional. As you are the one that is detained, it's better not to say anything because you are the one who's gonna get in trouble. It's gonna be worse for you if you fight. There is a little bit of storm. Okay. I just changed to a different chair. Oh, there's a cat here. Just gonna sit here now. Also, something else that affected my mental health was the food. You know me, if you follow me for a while, you know how much I love to eat, and you know how much I love to shimmy when the food is good. However, you eat the same thing for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and sometimes the food that they serve you about to spoil. And as you don't have access to food, you have to eat it because if not, you're gonna be starving. You also have the options to buy other options of food that is in commissary. However, it's always like instant noodles or cookies or things like that. So, as much as I love food, I think that was also one of the things that affect my mental health. Let's just keep walking. So the last day that I was fully sure that I was about to go to my country, that was also one of the worst nights because we were, I would say that we were around 40 people in a tiny room. That was when we got moved from the detention that we were, and then we were moved to Arizona because I was in Texas. And from there, the room, it's so tiny that we have to um, that we have to take times to lay down on the floor, because some people could not lay down on the floor. So we have to, okay, you do 2 hours and then I will do 2 hours. Some people keep standing, other people keep on the floor, and then we exchange. So yeah, that was one of also the worst nights ever. And again, the only food that we had in our stomach was a sandwich. When I arrived to my country, I stayed there for 2 months. So the first days that I arrived to Venezuela, I was very happy to see my mom and my grandma. However, the first week, all I do was crying. All I do was crying. I was feeling this anxiety in my chest. I was feeling like this panic attack. I didn't want to go out because loud noises, they were kind of like irritated to me, especially after going back to Venezuela after 8 years. Everything feels so different, but also the same. You know, everything stays right where you left it, but still changes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the first few weeks I was so overwhelmed. I was crying a lot, and on top of everything, I was betrayed by one of my best friends. That I thought he was one of my best friends, because he used my situation to steal money. So on top of that, I was in a bad mental health. I was also feeling guilty of what happened, you know. So I was feeling very, very low. I start to talk negative about myself. I start to judge everything that I do, every decision. I was very overthinking everything. I was feeling insecure about myself, of my sexuality, of the person that I was, everything. Because of all that situation with ICE, they make you feel bad, they make you feel that you're a criminal, they make you feel that all the decisions that you made were wrong. And yeah, as for right now, I will say that I'm in a better mental health. I feel like the Philippines and the people here helped me a lot to heal, and to feel good starting over again. Because that's the other thing. I start feeling sad because everything that I worked so hard for was gone. Everything was gone. So right now I'll say something that helped my mental health as well was faith. Faith that everything happens for a reason. Faith that I'm in the right place right now and everything will make sense at the end. If you are suffering from mental health, I always recommend to go to therapy. However, therapy can be expensive for some people. So if you have a pen and a notebook, not even a notebook, just a piece of paper, I recommend you to do... Oh, hello? So, ooh, the wind. I don't know where to go. If you have, like I was saying, if you have a pen or a piece of paper, journal. Journal about your feelings, journal about your thoughts. Ask yourself questions. Take the time to really pay attention to yourself, because that's something that helps me a lot. I usually do it every morning and every night. So that's one of my recommendations. But again, mental health for everyone, it's different. So if you feel like you need more help, go. If you feel like you need a better help than that, please do. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel embarrassed, because we all have our issues, and mental health is really important. There are days that are better than others. There are days that I feel more anxious than others. There are days that I feel panic attacks. There are days that I cry. There are days that I'm happy. But this is a reminder that one day at a time. What you've been through do not define you, but help you to become a better person. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next vlog. Salamat po.